Yeah, welcome to another edition of our wonderful program titled Joyful Hope, where we read inspirational stories from the inspirational book titled Awesome Wonder. My name is Asma'u, Rebecca Asma'u. I am the author of the book Awesome Wonder and your regular host in this program titled Joyful Hope. In today's edition, we are going to read the story of Morenikeji, a very beautiful girl, and the story began with her wedding day. That's why we are all dressed for the wedding. The title of the story is It Is Written. It is written. That's the title of the story, and it's very, very interesting. Just come along with me as we read. Morenikeji, the bride, was gorgeously dressed in a lovely pink complete ashoke outfit with golden shimmering that made her glitter and sparkle as she moved. The well-woven headgear on her head was like a majestic crown, giving her a royal look. Her bead jewelry was a beautiful sea green color that was a sharp contrast to her fuchsia pink attire, but perfectly matched her designer shoe and bag. It was her traditional wedding day, and her mother did not spare anything to ensure that she turned out as beautifully and as gorgeously dressed as could be. She was still in her bedroom awaiting the moment she would be ushered into the traditional wedding party, which was taking place at the front of their compound. She flashed a toothy smile at the photographer while he struck one stylish pose after the other. While she struck one stylish pose after the other. In return, the camera released flash after flash as the photographer captured dazzling poses for posterity. Having concluded her job, the makeup artist hired to give the bride a makeover began to gather her kits in preparation to leave. She was highly sought after and she did not come cheap. She also insisted that her money was paid in full before she agreed to come, because she didn't think the bride and her mother could afford her services. But then, that was their business, not hers. Alice, Morenikeji's mother, who was equally gorgeously dressed in several shades of matching green colors, came into Morenikeji's room with the bride's friend, who had hitherto been dancing at the venue of the traditional wedding. Alice gave her daughter a look of approval when she saw how beautiful she looked in her traditional attire. She had specially made the clothes for her daughter and herself to wear for the event, and she was satisfied with the outcome. Right from a very young age, she was known as a fashion-conscious woman, and the wedding of her only daughter was not a moment that she should be found wanting in appearance. "Oh, Mom, you look so beautiful. Please join me for some snapshots." "So do you. It's not a small effort that I put in dressing us for today and tomorrow's events," she replied with a pleased smile. She moved close to her daughter and held her by the waist as the camera clicked away. "You have to step out of your room now. We have been asked to escort you out. I'm so glad that you are dressed to kill. Today our guests will be amazed by how stunning you look, but tomorrow they will be dazzled by your wedding gown." "I trust you, Mom. I know all the effort you have put in to make a fashion statement of my wedding. In fact, they will know that Iyakeji is not one to be toyed with." Both mother and daughter, together with the bride's friend, danced out of the room to the front of the compound where all the guests were seated, causing the exact kind of stare of admiration Alice expected from her guests. A couple of them stood up to take snapshots of the bride and her mother as they danced to the traditional drummers' music. "Majo síbi tó wẹ̀, Majo síbi tó wẹ̀, ìgbà tó yàwó lọ́wọ́ bàbá nìkan. Majo síbi tó wẹ̀, Majo síbi tó wẹ̀, ìgbà tó yàwó lọ́wọ́ bàbá nìkan. Majo síbi tó wẹ̀." You can dance whichever way you desire, since you have not borrowed money from anyone, the musicians sang in Yoruba language. Morenikeji and her mother danced rhythmically to the music, even though both of them knew that, as against the lyrics of the song, Alice has secured a heavy bank loan to finance the lavish wedding they were hosting. As expected, some of the guests came up to spray the bride and her mother with naira notes, while the trusted bride's friend grabbed the money even before they touched the ground and stuffed them into nylon bags prepared for the purpose. The next day was not entirely different from day one. Morenikeji and her mother made more fashion statements with their attires and makeup for the wedding and the reception. As expected, the guests were awed by mother and daughter. The guests were awed as mother and daughter changed from the attires they wore for the church wedding ceremony to something more glamorous for the reception. They were happy. After the reception, it was time to take the bride to her husband's house. She was again expensively and beautifully dressed in a lovely Hollandaise Ankara gown and exquisite high-heeled shoes. Everything went well with the whole event until Morenikeji alighted from the car at her in-laws' house. Waiting to usher her in was a retinue of women led by her mother-in-law. "Ìyàwó wa tó rẹwà ti dé o," she said loudly. "Our beautiful bride is here. You are highly welcome to our home." "Yay!" the women shouted gleefully. Iya Bosun, her newly gained mother-in-law, a woman of about 65 years old, first went to hug Morenikeji. Then she raised the popular Yoruba worship song while the women with her sang along. "Ó ṣé o Jésù, a ó máa yìn ọ́. Ó ṣé o Jésù, Ọlọ́run ayọ̀ wa. Ó ṣé o Jésù, a ó máa yìn ọ́. Bàbá gbọ́pẹ́ tá mú wá fún wọn. Ó ṣeun, ó ṣeun." The women circled the bride and her entourage and danced around her for a while, after which Iya Bosun gave the signal for them to stop. She asked the wife of the first son, who was among her retinue, to pass her the bucket of water and empty basin that was to be used for the traditional feet washing of the bride as obtained in the family. "Ìyàwó wa, you will pull your shoes and step into the basin with both of your feet," she ordered. "Mama, you said what?" Morenikeji asked, amazed. "We are going to wash your feet as our tradition demands, Ìyàwó. Step into the basin." Rara ma, lie. You can't wash my feet," Morenikeji objected. "I do not subscribe to your traditions at all. I'm a child of God and we do not approve of such local stuff in my church." Morenikeji, so you are insinuating that we are the child of the devil, Abi? Anyway, never mind about that. But as a new bride in this family, it is mandatory for your feet to be washed before you step into this house. "No, Mama, I'm not going to allow you wash my feet. I mean, how do you expect me to remove my expensive Louis Vuitton shoes and allow some local women who have not battered themselves clean to wash my feet?" she protested, gesticulating. "You have to excuse me, oh. Me, I will not allow that tradition at all," she said spitefully. "Yawa, permit us to forcefully carry her into the basin while you wash her feet. We do not understand all this English that she is speaking," a young woman, the fattest of the women with Iya Bosun, suggested. "There's no need for that, Alaba. We cannot force our tradition on our new wife. She either accepts it willingly or will allow her have her way," she spoke calmly. "I will ask you for the third time, Morenikeji. Will you allow us wash your feet or not?" "No, I will not," Morenikeji said emphatically. "Shegun, my husband, did not inform me before today that he had any archaic tradition in his family that I will have to observe. So no one can compel me to do what I'm not comfortable with." "So be it," she said to Morenikeji. Then turning to the women, she said, "Enyara, you are all witnesses to the fact that our new Ìyàwó refused our traditional feet washing. So we will not usher her into the house with the usual fanfare. We can all go back to what we were doing before her arrival. I will deal with the Ìyàwó in my own way." The young women dispersed, with some of them murmuring indignantly, Not one of them had ever been bold enough to disagree with Iya on any issue before. Most of them were wives of her sons and nephews, and all of them had passed through the ostensibly harmless tradition of feet washing on coming to their matrimonial home. They could not understand how Morenikeji, who was the wife of the youngest son of Iya, will have the audacity to refuse it, or why Iya allowed her to have her way. Who needs anyone to usher her into this dirty old house? Morenikeji whispered to her best friend Bolanle, who was her chief bridesmaid. We are not even passing the night here. I only came here because Shegun and I agreed to meet in his father's house before proceeding to the hotel. Morenikeji and her new husband stayed in the house till about 10:30 p.m. after which they were driven to a nearby hotel where a room had been booked for them. They were too tired that night, and all that was on their mind was a warm shower and some deep sleep to rest from the accumulated tiredness. This both of them did as soon as they got into the hotel room, and in no time both of them were sound asleep. Then it happened. Of course it was a dream, but it appeared too real for Morenikeji to doubt the reality. She was lying down on the bed close to her husband Shegun. Her eyes were wide open and she saw clearly her mother-in-law, Iya, slide into the room through the wall. Morenikeji was struck with fear and was totally immobile, as if she was held down by a strong and wicked force. She couldn't even talk or breathe. Right in her full glare, Iya walked majestically to where Morenikeji lay on the bed, dipped her hands into Morenikeji's stomach and brought out her womb, dripping in blood. What amazed Morenikeji in the whole exercise was that she didn't feel any pain. Even though her mind wanted to protest her mother-in-law's action, her body was powerless to take any action. You this little rat, Morenikeji, you chose to dare me today, and I'm here to show you who I am, Iya hissed. You are just an empty shell, and I can easily snuff life out of you. But I will not do that, because you will not learn any lesson, and then people will accuse my son of killing you on your wedding night. I have over 15 grandchildren, a few of them older than you. So I will not miss anything if Shegun does not produce a baby through you. By the time you spend all of your married life without a child, you will learn to respect your elders and their traditions. Have a very unhappy married life. She heaved a long sigh at Morenikeji, and clutching tightly to the womb still dripping in blood, she walked away majestically and went out through the wall. She took the womb to the backyard of her house and nailed it to the tree with 3 nails. Morenikeji woke up with a start. Had she just seen a film show? She asked herself uneasily. She touched her stomach apprehensively, but she didn't feel any pain. There was no blood stain anywhere. This can't be real, she told herself. It's just a silly dream. How can it ever be possible for someone to dip her hands into another person's stomach and painlessly bring out her womb? I need to go back to sleep before my imagination runs wild, she told herself as she lay back on the bed and snuggled to her husband, and in that very minute she slept off. Before she woke up the next morning, she had totally forgotten the dream. 2 years passed into her marriage. There was no baby. There was no pregnancy for Morenikeji. When 3 years passed and there was still no baby or pregnancy, Morenikeji became worried. She often told her mother about the sorrow in her heart caused by her childlessness, and her mother had been a great pillar of strength for her, encouraging her and praying for her. Many times she accompanied her to different hospitals where several tests were carried out on her, and she was certified fit to bear children. She cajoled her husband too to get tested, to which he succumbed reluctantly. He too was certified healthy and fit to father children. What then is causing her delay in having children? She queried herself daily. Morenikeji still attended her hyped church with its precise and accurate timed services, and efficient business-like administration. Music and worship was hip, but with little emphasis on the basis of the Word of God. Prayers were very brief and casual. All the while, she has relied heavily on her pastor's proclamation that it was impossible for a child of God to suffer barrenness of any time. She had likewise declared that it was impossible for the devil or the agent of darkness to attack anyone who had received Jesus as his or her personal Lord and Savior. In all the years since she married, Morenikeji held strongly to these words. She even joined the choir and served faithfully in the group so that by her service she could swiftly get the attention of God to give her a child. 4 years passed, no baby, no pregnancy. 5 years passed, no baby, no pregnancy. By then her worry had given way to desperation, and she and her husband has begun to experience serious marital crisis. Even as a so-called child of God, member of the music department of his church, her husband Segun had begun to have an affair with another lady with the hope that she will get pregnant and have a child for him. I'm not sure. Morenikeji's mother Alice had a colleague in the office who advised her to seek spiritual help for her daughter's problem before she was ousted out of her home. She convinced her that what Morenikeji was going through was beyond the ordinary, since she had undergone quite a number of tests and had been declared medically fit to have a baby. Alice followed her to herbalists who prescribed a couple of rituals for them. He said they were only required to pay for the items and he would perform the rituals and the things would turn around for their favor. For over 4 months they frequented the herbalist place, paying for one ritual or the other. However, rather than turning in their favor as the herbalist had promised, things became worse in Morenikeji's home. Her husband had successfully put the other lady in the family way and was expecting his first baby. He didn't care how Morenikeji feared or felt about it. Left to him, he wanted a separation or a divorce so that he would be with the other women. But Morenikeji chose to remain in her husband's house and swallow all the shame and reproach he and the other people dished out to her. Morenikeji and her mother ditched the herbalist like a hot potato. Apart from draining their finances, he had not added any value to their lives in all the time they had known him. They had stayed too long hoping against hope that things would change for the better, but the situation kept sliding from bad to worse. Their next assignment was to find a more powerful herbalist or spiritualist. Segun's mistress gave birth to a bouncing baby boy and no expense was spared to celebrate the arrival of the baby. He held a noisy naming ceremony in his father's compound, complete with a live band and all-night party. Segun silently excused himself from the church to perform the traditional marriage rite on his mistress, and she became his full-fledged wife. Morenikeji was frustrated. She moved out of her husband's house to her mother's house temporarily. They continued to hunt for solution until they came across a spiritualist called Janaku. Both of them visited the powerful spiritualist who came highly recommended. He looked more like a native doctor with his long beard and painted eyelid and the paraphernalia of his trade. His appearance notwithstanding, the spiritualist was accurate with his diagnosis. First, he accused Alice of being spiritually bankrupt. He said she wasted her time trying to put her daughter's wedding attire in top notch, while she ignored the most important, which was ensuring her spiritual fortification to forestall any unforeseen attack from her in-laws' family. If you had invested half of the effort you put in getting her beautiful attires for the wedding to look for spiritual protection for her, she would not have been in the situation she is in today, Janaku said. I'm very sorry. Please help us, was all Alice could mutter over and over again. He reminded Morenikeji of the dream she had on her wedding night, when her womb was taken away by her mother-in-law. That, he said, was the genesis of her problems, and the only solution was to the only solution was to get back her womb in the spiritual realm before she would be able to get pregnant. He promised to get it back for her if they could make some expensive sacrifices. They were too glad to do that. Having met all the financial requirements of the spiritualist, Morenikeji and her mother decided to go and give Iya-Bosun some dressing down. We now know your secret, Iya-Je witch. Morenikeji's mother lambasted Iya-Bosun as soon as they got to her house, ignoring her greeting. Every day you keep encouraging my daughter not to give up hope that she will have her own children, not knowing that you are the architect behind her barrenness. You are the witch that has been persecuting her and at the same time comforting and consoling her. What is it, my in-law? Calm down, let me hear you clearly, Iya-Bosun pleaded. What do you mean by calm down, Iya-Je witch? Morenikeji's mother raved. Did you calm down when you stole my daughter's womb for over 5 years? Your secret is now out in the open. Shame on you. Alice, you are a very stupid woman. You are here with stupid accusation against me. Do you think that is the solution to your problems? Go and tell the person that told you that I stole Morenikeji's womb that she should prepare for battle. Iya-Je, wicked woman, we are indeed ready for you, and you shall be defeated and put to shame by the grace of God, Alice said as she stormed out of the house with her daughter behind her. 7 days later, they went back to the spiritualist, hoping to get the good news that their problems were solved and Morenikeji's womb had been returned to her. Alas, the reverse was the case. The spiritualist rebuked them for their immaturity in confronting Iya-Bosun, whom he said was one of their mothers in the coven. His intention was to go and appeal to her to be lenient with Morenikeji. He, however, informed them that they had spoiled their chances by themselves. On his part, there was nothing he could do about the matter anymore. The only option they had was either to go and apologize to Iya-Bosun and plead with her to restore Morenikeji's womb, or they should seek for someone more powerful than he was to handle the matter. Alice went on her knees and Morenikeji followed suit. Please, sir, we are very sorry, sir. We didn't know she was your mother. Please help us. I'm sure if we go to her, she's not going to listen to us. That is your own business. As it is now, I have been suspended at the coven for informing you that our mother, Iya-Bosun, was responsible for your childlessness. I do not want any further problems for myself. Please, leave my premises and never come back again. You have been warned. Alice and Morenikeji left the place dejected. They went again to Iya-Bosun, this time to plead with her. The elderly woman kept denying having anything to do with Morenikeji's predicament. She did not want to admit that she was responsible because it was confirmed to everyone that she was a witch indeed. There began part 2 of Morenikeji's problem. For the next 5 years, she went from one church to another, one spiritualist to another, and one witch doctor to another. Their verdict was always the same: no solution, no solution. It is well. At this point, I would like to take a break from the reading of this story, just to drink water. I'll be coming back immediately for the concluding part. Thank you for staying with us. The Lord bless you. Bye bye.